Hi everybody, and welcome to the AACA Museum Incorporated here at 161 Museum Drive in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the sweetest place on earth. We're located just off Route 39, minutes from downtown Hershey, with easy access from anywhere you drive from central Pennsylvania or the regions beyond. My name is Bill Rothermel. I'm a member of the Car Selection Committee and also a member of the Board of Directors here at the AACA Museum. This is called Car Chronicles, whereby we're going to tell you a little bit of a story about all of the cars, or many of the cars I should say, in our collection, which is about 200 cars. This particular car is a 1933 Lasalle Model 345C Cabriolet or convertible. Lasalle might be a name for some of you that you're not familiar with. Alfred Sloan, who was head of General Motors, believed there should be a car available for everybody in all price and size categories. His idea was that you began with a Chevrolet, you moved up to a Pontiac, then to an Oldsmobile, then to a Buick, then to a Cadillac. But he felt there was a price gap in all of the makes that he had offered at the particular period of time. Chevrolet being on the bottom, Cadillac being on the top. So he devised an idea called companion cars. Buick had Marquette, Oldsmobile had Viking, Oakland had Pontiac, and that was the company obviously that outlived its original corporate sibling. Oakland disappeared and Pontiac continued forth. Cadillac had LaSalle. Other than Pontiac, LaSalle was the only companion car that survived during that period of time. Was introduced in 1927 and was continued to be built through 1940. It was the brainchild, or the design brainchild, I should say, of Harley Earl. It was really the first car while he was at General Motors that he was responsible for designing, and he patterned it off of European cars that he found attractive at that particular time. Cadillac at this time offered a myriad of automobiles across all ranges. The LaSalle, all the way up through the Fleetwood series top-of-the-line cars. These cars generally had Fisher bodies rather than Fleetwood bodies. They were the smaller chassis or the smaller body. Initially, the engine that was in this car came from Oldsmobile with modifications from Cadillac, but yet it was considered GM's second-tier automobile just under the Cadillac automobile. As I mentioned, just from 1927 to 1940, the next year that this car became available in 1934, it had very, very flamboyant Art Deco styling. Jules Agramonte was the man who was given credit for that as a designer for General Motors under Harley Earl at that particular period of time, and the LaSalle continued through 1940. This LaSalle also has dual side mount spare tires, which were very common in the early automobiles prior to World War II. Why? Because tire technology wasn't like it was today, and roads were not particularly smooth as well. So most automobiles carried a second spare tire. Some even carried not only two on the side, but an additional third on the rear because of the conditions of roads and the tire technology of the time. One of the really interesting features about this car is, of course, the rumble seat, which was very, very common. Rather than having an enclosed trunk on the automobile, you had an accessory trunk like you see on this car, which was mounted to the rear of the automobile, and then on a rack. This would enable you to put your luggage in the car if you traveled. But if you were looking for perhaps a little bit more sportier car, which the convertibles were, in place of that trunk, which was uncommon at the time, we had a rumble seat. This drops down and gives the car a nice smooth appearance. On the other hand, you have the ability for two more people to join you on your drive. What's interesting about this is you had to navigate these steps that you see here along the side in order to get into the car. It was not particularly practical, especially women in dresses. It was not a great idea for them to be getting in and out of the rumble seat. So the rumble seat didn't last particularly much past pre-war cars built prior to World War II. This is a lovely example of a LaSalle and a beautiful a beautifully restored car done in some pretty crazy colors. People sometimes ask the question, did cars come in these colors? Yes, they did. There are oftentimes when you see these rather flamboyant combinations of cars, they were very common at that particular period of time. Once again, this is a 1933 Lasalle Model 345C Cabriolet here at the AACA Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania.